So now that we know the mean value theorem, we're going to look at the extreme value theorem. All right, before that, we're going to look at some definitions. All right, so f is just some function. We call this point the absolute maximum of our function f if the output f of c is the largest value. So if we think about what this would look like on a graph, we're looking for the biggest y value, which in this graph is going to happen up there. So the absolute maximum, it's bigger than everything else that happens. All right, that's the absolute maximum. The absolute minimum, same idea, except for now our y value is the least value, kind of the lowest down. So if I kind of try to draw the same graph, oops. All right, the lowest down value is going to be my absolute minimum. All right, so absolute max, the whole graph, it's just the highest point. Absolute minimum, the whole graph, it's the lowest point. All right, so if we look at this graph, we want to find the absolute max and absolute min. All right, the absolute maximum is the highest point, so that's going to happen there. And the maximum value we give is the y value. So the absolute max of this one would be about, I don't know, what is that, like 3.25 or something like that. All right, so it's just the highest y value that we're going to get out of our function. And the absolute minimum, same idea, but it's the lowest down value, and that's going to be here. And that's much easier to estimate. Our absolute min is 0, because the lowest y value we get is 0. All right, so now that we know what absolute maxes and mins are, all right, just the biggest y value or the least y value, the extreme value theorem says if we have a continuous function, so our assumption here is only continuity, all right, so as long as we have a continuous function, then there is an absolute max and there is an absolute minimum. All right, so that's all the extreme value theorem says. As long as I have a continuous function, then I'm going to get a maximum and I'm going to get a minimum. All right, so that's all we need to know for this video, just what the theorem says, and then we'll start talking about more absolute maxes and mins in the next video.